guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another list of baby names. These are all names that are inspired by nature. I feel like I have a good list of girl names and boy names and even some that could go either way with either gender. I think it's pretty safe to say that these are names, even though that I love these names, I think that have a little Iron Man in here. So if you hear noise, that's what's going on. But I think it's pretty safe to say that even though I do love these names, I don't think that we'll be using any of them. There could be a couple that I might push for, but I don't know that my husband would be like super on board with them. And as I've mentioned before, we do already have some names that we've picked that we really love for any future babies that we have. So if you are new here, I'm Denae. I'm a stay-at-home mom to our son Gunner, who is 2.5, almost 3 years old. We went through years of fertility treatments to get pregnant with him, and we are currently going through fertility treatments to get pregnant with baby number 2. I do upload motherhood and lifestyle videos here on my channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I am actually documenting and sharing that journey of trying to get pregnant here as well. So if that's something that you're interested in following along, then definitely make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I don't even know how many names I have here. I'm gonna say it looks like about 20-ish. But I am just gonna jump right into them because there are a bunch to share. So the first name that I'm sharing with you is probably like hands down one of my all-time favorite names for a little boy, and that is the name Bear. This is a name that I could totally see myself using. I don't think that my husband would be on board with it unless we used Bear as like his nickname. We are very much into like fun and cute nicknames, but I don't know that he would want our son's legal real name to be Bear. I think it would be better if it was like Barrett or Baron or something like that, and then we called him Bear. But I think Bear is the cutest name for a little boy. The next name is a name for a little girl, and that is the name Nature. I actually know a Nature. One of my sorority sisters is named Nature, and she is seriously one of the sweetest, kindest people ever. Her name is just super fitting for her and her personality, and I just love that name. I don't ever hear it. It's super different and unique, and I just think it's really, really beautiful for a girl. The next name that I love is for a little boy, and that is the name Wolf. And I would definitely put an E at the end of it. I think Wolf is just a little edgy. It kind of has like a rocker vibe to it as well. It's definitely different and unique, and it's not something that I hear of really ever. And I think it's really cute for a little boy. Also for a little boy, I really love the name Stone. I think Stone, again, is one of those names that's like super edgy. Again, has that like rocker feel to it. We are kind of drawn to names that are a little more edgy and rocker-ish for boys. I mean, Gunner was almost named Axel after Axl Rose, so we definitely like those types of names. Be careful, baby. But I really love Stone. I think Stone is just so cool and so different, and that is definitely one that I could totally see us going with. Another name that I really love for a little girl, you guys are probably gonna think I am so weird by saying this, but I love the name Maple. I think Maple is so cute for a little girl. It kind of has this like spunkiness to it, and I just think it is so adorable for a sweet baby girl. I've shared this name with you guys before, but it's for a little girl, and it is the name Willow. I am so drawn to the name Willow. That is definitely could be a top contender for me. I just love that name. I feel like it ties to like really great childhood memories for me. Growing up, we used to live on a farm, and we had these huge willow trees, and I just remember as a kid swinging from their like really long, big branches. And I just really love that name. I don't ever hear it being used. I feel like the only time I ever hear it is on one of my favorite shows, The Royals. If you guys watch it, you know what I'm talking about. There is a character in that show named Willow, and I just love that name so much. Another name that I've shared with you guys before, this is one that could actually go either way, and that is the name Wren. I love the name Wren. I feel like I lean more towards that name for a boy than I do for a girl, but that name is just so sweet to me. I just love it for either one. You guys know that I have like this affinity for names from Pretty Little Liars. I feel like they have the best names in that show. A lot of you guys have agreed. A lot of you have actually used those names for your kids, and I just love Wren. I think Wren is just so sweet. Also keeping in line with the whole like bird thing, I really love the name Birdie. I think Birdie is a sweet name for a little girl. The first time I ever heard it used was from Bella, one of the Bella twins. She named her little girl Birdie, and I just think it is so sweet. And I feel like I heard that Jessica Simpson just named her little girl Birdie, and I love that name. I think it's super sweet and just precious for a little girl. Another name that I love for a little boy is the name Forrest. I've only known one Forrest in my entire life, and he also was just like this really sweet and kind guy. And I like Forrest. I'm honestly surprised that it's not used more. I feel like maybe for a while it was kind of popular, and now I really don't ever hear it being used. So I do really love that name. Again, I feel like it has a little bit of an edge to it, but it's just different and it's really cute, and I love it. I love it for a little boy. Another name, I believe I've shared this name with you guys before too, and that is the name Reid. You could totally spell it a couple of different ways. I'm more drawn to spelling it with an I, but I love the name Reid. I think it's really like great for a boy's name. Again, it's something that's a little bit different. It's not like too crazy, but it's definitely not a name that I hear of very often. Also for a little girl, I really love the name Aspen. I feel like Aspen is starting to gain more and more popularity. I know that there is a YouTuber named Aspen, and she spells hers with a Y, which I think is really cute and different. And then there's also, what was her name? She was on The Real Housewives of OC. I can't think of her name right now, but you guys probably know who I'm talking about. She's married to the baseball coach. Anyways, they named their little girl Aspen, and I feel like that was really kind of like the first time that I ever considered that name. But I like it. It's different, and it's just really sweet and cute for a little girl. I also really love the name Brooke. I feel like Brooke is such a classic name. I mean, growing up, there were like several Brookes that I went to school with, but I don't feel like it's like super popular anymore. I feel like it was more so like back in the day. But I do love the name Brooke. I actually really love the name Brooklyn and then calling her Brooke, but I think Brooke is such a beautiful and kind of a great name that can grow with the person. So I love Brooke for a little girl. For a little boy, I really love the name Cove. That is such a cute name. There was a YouTuber, she doesn't have her channel anymore, and I cannot remember her name, and I feel terrible because we used to chat like back and forth quite a bit. She was a real small YouTuber. Like we were kind of starting out around the same time, but she had a little boy named Cove, and she ended up going back to work and just never finished her channel. And I cannot remember what her name was, but that is like the only time I've ever heard that name being used, and I love it so much. I just remember hearing it and I was like, wow, I really love that name. It's just like kind of cool, but it's different. I really love Cove. I could totally use the name Cove for a little boy. I just think it is so sweet. The next name that I love is also for a little boy, and that is the name River. I automatically think of River Phoenix, which is probably way before a lot of y'all's time, to be honest. I'm sure most of you don't even know who River Phoenix is. But anyways, I do think of him, but I love the name River. I do feel like it's gaining a little more popularity these days, but I love it. Again, it's one of those names for me that has a little bit of edginess to it, but it's just really cute. It's really just like one of those names that I feel like you can't really go wrong with. Also for a little boy is the name West. Okay, so I'm kind of like, I go back and forth with this name because obviously I think of Kim Kardashian's child, Northwest, but I like West for a boy. I think I've shared this before, but I really love the name just Wes in general, whether you call him Wesley or Weston. You could totally use the name Weston and then call him West for short, but I do like the name West. I probably would never use it, but I do think it's a really great name for a boy. I feel like it has some strength behind it, and it's kind of powerful sounding, so I like that. Also for a little girl is the name Winter. I think Winter is such a beautiful name. I would definitely spell it with a Y, not an I. I think it is different, it's unique. I think it's kind of classy sounding. I think Winter Rose would be a beautiful name for a little girl. I could totally see myself using that name as well. I really, really love that name. Also for a girl is the name Sage. Sage is a name that I really just don't ever hear. I feel like the first and only time I've ever heard this name is taking me back a little bit, but I used to watch soap operas, especially when I was in college. I was really hooked on like all of the CBS ones. So like Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, As the World Turns, Guiding Light, and As the World Turns was one of my favorite ones, and unfortunately like none of them are on the air anymore. I don't think any of them are still on. I think there's only like a couple of soap operas even just like living these days. But one of my favorite characters on As the World Turns was named Carly. I think she's on another one now, but she was one of my favorite characters ever. And I remember like towards the end, I think of the As the World Turns era, she ended up with like her longtime love Jack, and I don't remember the details, but she was pregnant. I feel like they were on vacation or something had happened and they were like out somewhere, maybe in a barn or in a field or something. She ended up having her little girl and they ended up naming her Sage. And I think Sage is such a beautiful name for a little girl. I think it is just so pretty and so different than a lot of names that you hear these days. Another name that I really like is the name Skye. I feel like it is a little more popular now. Gunnar, my son, actually has a Skye in his class, and she's so cute. She's just the sweetest little thing, and I just think Skye is super cute. I don't know, I just really like it. It's a little bit different and unique, but it's not like crazy, you know? So I'm really drawn to that one for a girl. Also for a girl is the name Ember. I think Ember is adorable for a little girl. I love that you could totally call her like Emmy or M. I think Ember is just so sweet. I feel like there's a little bit of strength behind it, but there's also a little bit of like innocence with it too. I think Ember is just too precious. I also love the name Clay for a boy. I feel like Clay kind of has like this southernness to it. We live in the South. My husband is very, very Southern. He's a good old Alabama boy. And I like Clay. I don't think we would ever use it, but I feel like it's one of those names that could totally be like a family name, something that you just carry on through generations. I like it. It's a little bit different. It's unique. It's not something that you hear very often, but probably not one that we would end up using. And then the very last name I'm going to share with you is for a little girl, and that is the name Briar. I love Briar so much. I think it is such a beautiful, gorgeous name. It's just one of those names that I really could see myself using. I don't know if my husband would be on board with it, but I just think it is so beautiful. I especially love using the name Briar Rose with it. Rose, again, is like one of those great nature names, but for me, I feel like that's better suited for a middle name versus like their first name. But I really love Briar. I think Briar Rose would just be so beautiful to use for a little girl. So those are all of the nature-inspired names that I am loving right now. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, leave in the comments below what some of your favorite names were. They can be any that I listed. They can be some that I didn't mention, but what are your favorite nature-inspired names, whether you have a name like that yourself or are planning to use one? I just love hearing from you guys and always love adding to my list names that you guys love as well. So thank you guys so much for watching and sharing in your time with me. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Again, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!